take a break for the news at the top.
And don't do anything during the break.
And we'll take listener calls at the second half hour.
Seriously? Oh, I know nothing.
It is time for News Extra on KNEB and brought to you today by Jolliffe Funeral Home. I'm Dennis Ernest. We are joined today by Karen Johnson and by Jenise Staman. They are here to visit about the Scottsbluff Preschool program. And Karen is the director there, and Jenise, a preschool teacher with special ed background. Welcome both of you to the program this morning.
Thank you very much for having us.
Nice to have you in. Karen, what's going on at preschool in Scottsbluff?
Well, I think the last time that we were in speaking about the preschool, there had been plans for us to move into the old administration building. You remember that the Frank building was donated, and there were changes in the district with those moves. Since that time, it was discovered in measuring the space of the old admin building that we did not have the square footage per child necessary for the preschool. So we are still in the existing space under the stadium on 2nd Avenue, but they're totally renovating the building to really make it a true preschool and not just that space under the stadium. And so in the late fall, our maintenance crews went into the south part of that building and built in 2 huge classrooms. There's 3 office spaces there, and we have a very large, almost an indoor play area, and 2 new classrooms. And then over the summer, the foyer area and the restrooms and our old space in that preschool building will be renovated. So we will have 2 very large classrooms over there as well. So we'll be ending up, we're doubling our space. And the playground has also been doubled, and that is now completed. So we're real excited. It's we moved in early January, and we've got those 2 classrooms up and running.
It's amazing what we can do with a given space, but how we arrange it inside with the architecture and the furniture and whatever else we put in there.
Yes, it's really exciting, and the kids and parents love it.
Well, Jenise, what does it mean for you as a teacher then?
Oh, it's absolutely wonderful. We have additional space, so we can actually have room now to have large motor activities inside if we have a rainy day or snowy day. And the building is just up to date, more appropriate for preschool classrooms.
One of the things that we noticed immediately when we moved into the 2 new classrooms is it was so quiet, because in the existing space we had walls that didn't even extend to the ceiling, and there were only 3 walls per classroom, and it was very open, and so a lot of the noise of the children carried into the other rooms. And now it's just incredibly quiet, other than the busyness of the children, and so it's much easier for them to focus.
What age group of kids are we talking about here in preschool?
We have 3 and 4-year-olds. And right now we're kind of on another crusade to get more children, and that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about today. Now, with our grant, we had the $125,000 grant. It was an expansion grant, and so now we're into the new space, and we're looking to fill up our classrooms with 3 and 4-year-olds. Birth date needs to have been last July 31st, so if your child turned 3 on or before last July 31st, 2012, they could come in and finish out the school year with us as 3-year-olds, and then they would stay through next year as 4-year-olds before going to kindergarten. By the same token, if your child turned 4 last July, on or before July 31st, they could come in and finish out this semester and then go into kindergarten.
Now, do all those students need to be looking at going to Scottsbluff Public Schools then?
Yes, they are students who would be residing in the district.
Because you're a school district preschool.
We are a school district preschool. This is not a daycare, and I'll let Jenise talk a little bit about those differences. It's not a daycare. It's not Head Start, although we work closely with Head Start, but it is definitely a kindergarten readiness preschool program.
For Scottsbluff. Okay, so what are some of the differences then between this program and, say, what they might have at a daycare or a Head Start program?
Well, we actually have purchased and implemented what's called the creative curriculum, so we do follow that curriculum, and there's also an assessment piece to that. And We are similar in some ways that we're getting kids in and first teaching them to be able to sit and listen and share and take turns, but we are more academic, I believe, because we really work strong on letters, numbers, counting. We have kids already that are pre-readers or early pre-readers and are writing, 3 to 4 letter words, and they will definitely be ready for kindergarten.
And Karen, as a educator for a long time, especially at the elementary, how do you see that development change for those students who move on through the grades? How has preschool helped them?
Yes, thank you. Our kindergarten teachers have pretty consistently told us that they can pick out those students who were in the Scottsbluff School preschool. And part of it, I think, is because all of our teachers are certified. I mean, they could step into another classroom in an elementary school. They're certified by the state as preschool and elementary teachers. And, they have a real good understanding of early childhood as well as what goes on in the grades, and especially in the grades at Scottsbluff. And so even with our 3 and 4-year-olds, when we're reading them books, we talk about different things that will be reinforced in kindergarten, the parts of the book that you read from left to right, the vocabulary. We work with them on patterning, as Jenise said, and different things that will prepare them. I think one of the most important things we do, though, is we teach them the process of learning, that there's times to be quiet, that you retain information from day to day, and so they learn how to be learners, really.
Learn how to be students.
Yes, and how to be students. Mm-hmm.
We'll take a quick break and come back with more in just a moment.
Thank you.
Comforting, personal.
Okay,
Jolla
anything else?
Funeral Home. Won't Jolla Funeral Home help you honor those you love when they pass? With unmatched service and artistry, our team will help you carry on the legacy of your family.
I guess I need to get into a little bit about, I'll let you do the bilingual. I probably need to talk a little bit about if you could maybe ask us what people need to do if they want to enroll right now. Because there are things we need, there's certain birth certificates and whatnot. That would probably be best.
On News Extra, we're with Karen Johnson, director of the Scottsbluff Preschool, and Jenise Staman, a teacher there. And I should ask if this is a bilingual program, Jenise?
It's not a bilingual program, but we do have 2 paraprofessionals that are bilingual. So if we have students that are Spanish speaking only or primarily, we do have that available.
Okay. And Karen, you said you were basically recruiting, looking for more students. What do parents need to do?
What parents need to do if their 3 or 4-year-old meets that birth date requirement of July 31st, 2012, they can go into the central office, which is now on First Avenue, 1722, the Scottsbluff Administration Building, and pick up a kindergarten packet, and that will have enrollment information in it. The preschool has those as well. We need a birth certificate, and that's the one not from the hospital, but the one from the state with the raised seal. We need to have proof that immunizations are up to date, and the child has to have a physical either now or within 6 months of the start date. And then they fill out the necessary paperwork. And we do have a sliding fee scale, and the free and reduced lunch application is used for that purpose.
Okay. Very good. Well, thanks both of you for coming by and spending some time with us this morning.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having us.
Jenise Staman and Karen Johnson, our guests today on News Extra.